everybody, how are things going? The goal of this video is to talk you through the next major writing project for the class. Just so you know, before we get started, this is a smaller project, right? So it's due next Sunday, so it's coming up relatively quickly, right? In order to understand it, we really need to place it within the broader trajectory of the class, right? So after we're done with this smaller assignment, we're going to launch into the big major project for the class. And the major project, what it's asking you to do is within your learning communities, come up with an idea for an innovative product, right? And to defend that product idea over the course of a 15, 20-page document, right? And so before we get into that, I want to get you to start thinking about product design, right? To look at some of the major thinkers in the area and what they have to say about the topic. And also to apply the concepts those thinkers come up with to some example products, right? And so that's the goal here, is to get us to start thinking about product design in a kind of abstract way, right? And the reason I think product design is such a cool topic is because it's where engineering intersects with the humanities. So, of course, designing a project requires a lot of engineering know-how, but also requires you to do a lot of things that humanities folk are really familiar with, right? So looking at audiences, thinking through cultural conflict, thinking about ethics, those sorts of things, all that kind of stuff comes into play with product design as well, right? And so that's one of the reasons I find this project so cool, right? So here's what I want you to do. So I want you to go to Indiegogo's website, right? And if you've never been to Indiegogo before, I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like, right? It's actually a crowdfunding website. Let me go ahead and pull this up here, right? And basically it's a place where people can show off cool ideas for projects and ask for funding from the broader public to make those products reality, right? So for example, if I go in these in-demand superstars list here, right, you're going to see a variety of products, right? So we got a Swiss Army knife of cables. We got this revolutionary personal weather system, whatever the hell that means. There's this print cube, which I've seen before, which is kind of neat. So a bunch of like creative, interesting projects that have been funded mostly through community sources, right? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick one of those products, right? Whichever one you want, whatever you find interesting, right? I'd like you to learn as much as you can about it, by obviously reading the Indiegogo page, looking through the marketing materials, looking at news articles, viewing YouTube product demonstrations, just whatever information you can collect about it within a week's worth of time, right? And then I want you to analyze that product using some of the concepts from our course readings, right? And you're welcome to look at whatever is relevant. You don't have to draw from all the course readings. You could just draw from whatever ideas you find productive. But here are some things that you might think about, right? So one thing is you might consider the idea of systems thinking. So how the product is embedded, product and the user is embedded in larger cultural systems, so on and so forth. You can look at the emotional design, so look at its aesthetic components and how that relates to functionality and its reflective aspects and that sort of thing. You can look at how the product challenges the status quo, or whether it has any kinds of social justice goals, or whether some of those social justice goals might be just a marketing tactic, something they do just to sell the product more than anything else. And also you can look at issues of sustainability, so things like planned obsolescence and how it works to achieve sustainability goals and that sort of thing, right? And so you can draw from whatever those concepts you think are most relevant. And I am expecting you to dig into the course text a little bit, so you look at Don Norman or the piece on planned obsolescence and you pull some quotes out, you do some cobbling together of ideas and that sort of thing. So probably a good way to start this might be with like a summary of whatever thinker that you're drawing the most from, right? Anyway, don't feel the need to address every issue of the text. Just focus, selectively draw on whatever you think is most relevant. And if it helps you to sort of imagine what the format of the paper should look like, perhaps think of it like a thesis-driven essay, right? Where you have an argument in the opening paragraph, usually you state in your last sentence, right? And then you have multiple paragraphs with topic sentences that work to support that argument you develop in that opening paragraph, right? So what I'm expecting is about 1.5 to 2 type single-space pages. This is worth not a whole lot, but it's still worth like 15% of your grade. It's still a sizable chunk, right? And it is due next Sunday, right? And so my recommendation is to get started right now. So go over to Indiegogo, look through some products, get a general sense of what kind of things they offer, and start thinking about what you'd like to write your analysis on.